Was I surprised Ole Miss lost to Kentucky? Yes. Duh. This game was in Oxford. Ole Miss tied for last place in the SEC right now at 0-1. Kentucky, who almost beat Georgia last week, goes on the road and wins in Oxford. This is not a good look for Lane Kiffin. Not a good look. Before you know it, if Lane Kiffin delivers another couple duds, those comments that I get when I talk about Kiffin going to Florida will turn from Kiffin would never go to Florida to we want Kiffin to go to Florida. We don't want him here anymore. Only if he stacks up a couple more, which I don't think he will. I was surprised. I didn't think Ole Miss would lose this football game. Thought they would win big. I was not shocked. There's a difference between those two things. The surprise is, whoa, that actually happened. Shocked is jaw on the floor. Okay, surprise is Ole Miss loses to Kentucky. Shock is Georgia had the lead in a football game against Alabama in a game where they trailed 28-0. That's shock, okay? That is my jaw is on the floor. I'm in disbelief at what is taking place in front of me right now. So the reason I'm surprised, not shocked, is that Lane Kiffin has had a tendency in his 5 years at Ole Miss to deliver a dud every now and then. To have a game in which he loses and you go, wait, why did that happen? I can't explain it all the time. Why did the Ole Miss offense struggle? I don't know. Kentucky kept Georgia in tech. Mark Stoops, pretty good defensive mind, clearly. Ole Miss didn't have a good day. Didn't run the football well. Jackson Dart, 18 of 27, 261 in a touchdown. It wasn't happening. Kentucky played better. They outplayed you on your home field. Fans went home unhappy. If you go back before the season and go to my record prediction segments for every team, I predicted Ole Miss to go 10-2. Spencer, where'd you have those losses coming? I'm so glad you asked. One of them was to South Carolina, because that was the game that I'd circled on the schedule and said, road game, they'll be coming off a big game the week before because Ole Miss plays, actually they play Kentucky before South Carolina. I had that flipped in my head really, really briefly. That's why you double check. They go to South Carolina next week. I thought they'd beat Kentucky, lose to South Carolina. Well, they could just as easily lose to Kentucky and win at South Carolina. I wasn't worried about the letdown factor. I was worried about the look-ahead factor because they have LSU on the road the following week, and then they have Oklahoma at home the following week. So the look-ahead factor could have been very real. Instead, it appears to have caught, or something caught Ole Miss right here. So surprised? Yes. Anytime a 15.5-point home favorite that has legitimate national title aspirations loses at home, yeah, it's surprising. Shocking? No. I thought Ole Miss would have at least one of these games this year. I think it'll just be one. 10-2 and getting in the playoff still on the table for Ole Miss. This is not season over. This is season progressing, kind of how I thought it would. I didn't pick the right week. That's okay. It's a tough thing to do. So, that's what I think about Ole Miss. How about we go to the state of Florida? Did you see what happened in Orlando? Did you see, speaking of double-digit underdogs who are winning at a seemingly higher rate than they used to in college football, Colorado goes in and just blasts the Knights. I mean, this game wasn't close. This game, you look up, and Colorado wins the football game by a final score of, wait for it, double check my notes right here, make sure they didn't score again since the game ended. Yeah, that was a thorough thumping by Colorado. Oh, that's right, they put up 48 points. 48 points. UCF, meanwhile, tragically only scored 21. Shedeur Sanders, 28 of 35, 290 yards, beg your pardon, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and UCF only went for 177 yards on the ground. Thought it would be more. It wasn't. because they got behind. And when you get behind, what do you have to do? You have to throw the football, especially when you're behind multiple possessions. Colorado runs for a modest 128 yards on 4.5 yards a carry. That's all they need when you have Shedeur Sanders, when you have Travis Hunter. Right now, by the way, if you gave me a Heisman ballot, number 1, I'd go Jalen Milroe. Number 2, Travis Hunter. Number 3, Ashton Jeanty, Boise State. It would be in that order, and I will take questions at this time because those are the 3 best players in college football. That's it. That right now, that'd be my Heisman ballot. Jalen Milroe 1, Travis Hunter 2, Ashton Jeanty 3. Jeanty's absurd. Colorado winning this game is a 12.5 point dog. Drake Toll and I, Locked On Big 12, said earlier this week, 14.5 point favorite. That's ridiculous. Neither one of us saw this as Colorado is going to go and win the football game because UCF is a good team. UCF is at home, and UCF got outplayed. Now, here's the issue for the Colorado haters. And by the way, I'd like to just call your attention back to a reaction show I did a while ago in which Colorado beat North Dakota State, and I said, I think they look like a better football team than they were a year ago. Took a lot of flack for that in the old comments section and on the Twitter sphere. Many of you said, what are you talking about? What game did you watch? Did you blah, 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 blah. Tell me, does 2023 Colorado, which went 4-8, go into Orlando and win that game 48-21? Newsflash, they do not. So, UCF is a team that some people saw as, hey, they could push for a Big 12 championship here. Here's the unfortunate news for the Deion Sanders and Colorado haters out there. If you had the perception that if UCF won this game, they could be a dark horse Big 12 title contender, you have to give that benefit of the doubt to Colorado. Now, I didn't pick UCF to the Big 12 title game. I didn't think Colorado would win this football game. I don't think Colorado's going to make the Big 12 championship game. But this one caught me off guard far more than Ole Miss losing to Kentucky. This was a statement game by the Buffs. You had, call it what it was, a gritty but fluky win against Baylor last week that you wouldn't have won if you weren't at home, but you were, found a way, got it done, Hail Mary, okay, congratulations. This felt like an emotional letdown spot. Instead, you play your best football game of the year? So anyone who told me, what are you talking about? Colorado's not better than they were last year. They're the same. Really? Do they look the same to you? I tried to tell you in March, Colorado over 4.5 was free money. I also tried to tell you UCLA under 5.5 was free money. Those are going to cash easily. Those were the first 2 I was on. I was like, Colorado is winning more than 4.5 games, and the line bumped up to 5.5 by the time the season came around. Some say because of the influence of Locked On College Football, that hasn't been confirmed, but reports are circulating. So the Buffs get a big win. And I mean, just a heck of a statement win. And where do you go from here? Oh, that's right. Colorado's schedule. Well, it's not easy. It's not easy. But it isn't impossible. Kansas State at home next week. Show me what you're made of. That's October 12th, actually, a bye first. They get to take this win and 3 straight W's into the bye. Kansas State at home off a bye. At Arizona, host Cincinnati, who's a pretty good team. At Texas Tech, Utah, at Kansas, host Oklahoma State. It's a gauntlet coming down the stretch. Colorado's going to lose more football games, but they didn't lose this one because they were the much better team.